Peace. The root of all fortune group. It's the Hood Mystic, representing www.hoodmystic.com. And we're going to be talking about how to make money from home. Let me just do some offerings to the spirit before we start this conversation. So I'm going to play some drums as an offering to spirit and go from there. So give me a moment. You want it? What?
So I can put it on you.
No.
Hey. No, I got him. Don't throw that place.
So peace. Basically, making money from home, and how is one able to do that? Me personally, hey, how you doing, Karen? Me personally, starting this group and starting this page, I wasn't rich when I started this group, and nor do I consider myself rich now. But what I do consider myself is wealthy. And so wealthy is an idea that wealthy people have. Now, if you can't understand that, then you will fall off or thinking that wealth is something that you gotta have with a lot of money and stuff like that. Wealth is just an idea. Wealth is an action. And so from doing those wealthy actions, one is able to manifest these kids. I need to get in the sun. Yeah, it's too dark. Woo, that's better. So manifesting from home. A lot of us try to go out into the world and try to make money for ourselves and things of that nature, but ultimately you're going to be tied down to a job. You're going to be tied down to a place of employment. But what the root of all fortune is creating that wealth from home and expanding it throughout the world. Ultimately, we all have gifts, we all have abilities, but we don't necessarily monetize them. You know, the first step to monetizing your gifts is not to really do research on what you're trying to make money at, but really deal with the spiritual energy. And that's called building ashe. Building spiritual energy is what's needed. Peace, Janine. Building spiritual energy is what's needed for true growth. Like, a lot of us just survive off of our wits and our jobs and things of that nature. But when it comes to creating real wealth and doing things differently, it starts with you, and it starts with your energy. Now, if you don't build up your spiritual energy, then there's a situation there. A lot of times people are born with ashe, and they're born with a lot of it. Sometimes you're not, but ultimately we all have some form of ashe that we can begin to build. If we don't build up that ashe and build up that spiritual energy, then you are just a victim of circumstances. And so when it comes to creating wealth from home, you can't be a victim in no way, shape, or form. You have to begin to take your life in your hands in some sense. And from there, anything is possible. But if we are a victim to a job, if we're a victim of unhealthy relationships, unhealthy ideas, how we view ourselves, and then when it comes to the concept of God, and we view God as something outside of ourselves, then we'll be praying to that person to help us, and we'll be at the mercy of that person outside of us. When I'm talking about building spiritual energy and building spiritual ashe, then that God has to respond to you. That God can't tell you no. And so generally, if you find yourself in a spot where things aren't working for you, it's not the external or the circumstances that are stopping you or preventing you from growth. The thing that's really stopping you is you not having any spiritual ashe and no spiritual energy. So how do you build spiritual energy? Well, there's a variety of things you can do. The easiest thing is meditating, visualization, burning herbs, coming out to nature and grounding, harnessing energy, sigils, just things that take you off of your daily life, things that take you out of the everyday reality that you call your life. And from this point, things begin to work themselves out. So the reason why we want to talk about spiritual energy and ashe is because if you're dealing with the existential, then you're dependent on something else to work out in your favor for you to be successful. When you build spiritual power and spiritual ashe, there is nobody that can tell you no. There is nobody that can stop you. Now, when it comes to building money from your home and having money without depending on a job, then you're going to have to allow that to happen for yourself. What's up, Zolani? If you depend on other people to bless you, then that's not building spiritual ashe. Ultimately, people will bless you, but if you have no power, then you can't even charge them correctly for your time and energy. So that's a disconnect as well. So when you want to make money from home, you have to take your energy dead serious, because ultimately there are people that benefit off of you depending on them. So you have to do a complete 180 if you're serious about it. And the only way you can actually do it without you losing anything or sacrificing anything, without a proper gain, that comes from building ashe. Any type of spell, any type of ritual, any type of candle. Now, all of these things people do for specific result. Like, oh, I do that for love, or I do that for money, and I do that for this and doing that for that. Like, that's cool. But generally, when it comes to spiritual things, I don't have a particular result other than to build ashe, to build spiritual energy. And from that point, I'm able to wield my... You can't lift that 7. I'm able to wield my power at will throughout the planet. And if I would have ever said, I'm doing a spell to become the hood mystic, I'm doing a spell so I could do readings and make money doing that, or I want to, have a company with my wife and we make money doing that. No, I never had no real set intentions other than building energy. And then once I built the energy, I allowed the energy to guide me to hoodmystic.com. I allowed the energy to guide me to Goddess Thrones. We let the energy guide us. We work with particular energy, and from that energy, we're able to manifest. So a couple other things that I wanted to talk about as far as building Ashe. It starts with you and it ends with you. So the things that you're able to manifest for yourself, you have to begin to write it down and put it in some type of context for yourself. A lot of times we just want stuff to happen for us. A lot of times we just praying and wishing for things to happen, and when don't nothing happen, we go deeper and deeper into depression. So when you deal with spiritual energy, when you deal with Ashe, you know that the only things that's going to happen are the things that you're going to initiate from whatever energy you're building. So this is really important stuff. Shout out to the egos out there. So this is really big stuff. A lot of us are struggling with going back and forth to work, trying to raise children and doing all of this stuff, and there's no real outlet because nobody's really talking about an outlet. Nobody's really talking about building spiritual energy. Nobody's talking about cultivating your hobbies or your talents and things of that nature. Once you begin to build your spiritual energy, people is going to start to come to you. And there's other steps into monetizing yourself, you know. A lot of times we can have all of this spiritual energy. You know, we have big friends, big families, huge social circles. We have Facebook friends, Instagram friends, all of these potential customers, but we haven't found it within ourselves to cultivate our shit. And so therefore, we hoping that people is going to notice us like a diamond in the rough, and we not even putting ourselves in position to be noticed. Another thing, investing in yourself, investing in your craft. A lot of times we spend money on things that we don't need, and when it comes to our success, we put that off to the side. But ultimately, at the core of us, you know, the most important thing is our success. And so when it comes to the money that we make, we have nothing but space, nothing but time and energy to begin to invest in ourselves. Now, generally, you know, people are just wishing on a falling star. And the root of all fortune is an action word. You know, the root of all fortune is planting those seeds and watching those seeds grow. There is no magic pill. There is no easy way. But there's a surefire way when you begin to set an intention and build that energy surrounding that intention that you built. You know, my whole goal is to build ancestral wealth for me and my family and my children and their children. So from that point, everything that I'm doing, I'm trusting my energy to guide me along that path. And so far, so good. This was just a little video as promised. This will be here for as long as you're in the group. But I'll be doing this more. Make sure to comment if you watched this video, if you liked it. I'm out here baking in the sun, so probably going to choose a cooler location next time, because this is crazy. But ultimately, thank you guys for tuning in. If you did tune in, and if you learned something from this video, be sure to comment. Other than that, man, be wealthy, be prosperous. Peace.